Good morning, everyone. My name is Kathy Day, and thanks to my application of the teachings of this center, I get to celebrate a happy Kathy Day every day. Happy Kathy Day to all of you. So I used to say thanks to the teachings of this center, but I changed it because it's not just the teachings of this center. It's you taking what is taught here and applying it to the happenings and the circumstances of your life, and moving from knowing about to knowing that is what makes it so that I can celebrate a happy Kathy Day every day. So I invite you to do so as well, to celebrate a happy you every day. So this morning I'm up here talking about getting comfortable with change. And why is it that we would want to be comfortable with change? Because it's not always very comfortable. Because change is accelerating. Change is happening so fast, so quickly, and it's showing no signs of slowing down. So the thing that makes us so uncomfortable is that we can't do things the way we've always done them. We can't base decisions based on what we've always based decisions on. We can't do things the way our parents or our grandparents or even us 5 years ago used to do, because it doesn't work now. So we don't have any pre-planned responses or pre-planned movements. So in order to get comfortable with change, we have to start labeling it differently. We have to quit telling ourselves that change is hard, because change happens regardless of how we label it. And we have to connect with infinite intelligence to move us through our decisions, so that we don't have to make decisions based on an old pattern, that we can be fresh and in the new and in the now, and allow for divine inspiration to come to us. And so I'm going to share a couple of the tools that I've picked up over years of many classes. And one of them is that our world is comprised of what we believe is possible and what we believe is necessary. And this is from one of my favorite teachers, Reverend Darlene Sykes. And then I've expanded upon it and stuff to say, and our job is to expand what we believe is possible and to question what we think is necessary to have a fuller life. So whenever I'm in any kind of condition that is causing me discomfort or anxiety or questioning where I just don't know what to do or where to go, I go to that question, what do I believe is possible in this situation? And what do I believe is necessary? Do I think it's going to have to take a lot of time? Do I think it's going to take a lot of money? Do I think it's impossible? Oh, not that. So going into that questioning space and exploring what you believe is important, because then if you find out that you're believing something that you know that's not going to get you where you want to go, that's not going to serve you, that you have the opportunity to change your mind about it. And you change your mind about it by connecting with the infinite wisdom that is all around us all the time. This is an infinite wisdom that speaks to us in our language, the way we hear and know and understand. So we open to it and allow it to guide and direct and influence us. And, I just find myself impelled to do things that don't necessarily make sense or aren't necessarily logical, but it puts me in the right place at the right time to be the person that I need to be in order to effect a change. So having committed myself to service, even within my job and my family and this community, I get guided to lots of opportunities to serve, and I every time I step into it, every time I say yes, it's always an expansive experience, and so you start saying yes a little more often. Now, last week, Reverend Harriet was talking about, the Hebrew nation and how they were kicked about and moved about and victimized. And they went through changes like no other, dynasty went through. Yet they ended up creating and manifesting, just so much in our world. And part of it is because they knew they were connected. And they knew that they didn't have to be connected perfectly in order for it to affect the circumstances of their lives. So they allowed that, I don't know how I'm going to make this oil last 7 days, but I know, I can pray about it. I can go ask the rabbi and what to do. And they would tell me. So, they don't know how it all works, but they do know it works. And they know it works because they have this thousands of years of history, books written that tell out every detail of every story that happened. Well, not even every story, just lots of the stories. So they have this entire history. And what if we started collecting our history about our covenant with God? Our covenant with, if you don't like the word God, our covenant with Spirit, our covenant with the universal intelligence. And that we make a covenant. And that based on that covenant and based on Jewish history, that we don't even have to do it perfectly. We can just give it our best shot. And in knowing that, allowing that to work for us, through us, in the circumstances of our life. So start asking yourself, there was one other thing I wanted to say, and it's about, is change hard? Okay, change is happening all the time, whether we like it or not, whether we want it or not, it's happening. And I look to children a lot because Jesus said, come as a child. So I look, what is it about the nature of a child that makes change so easy for them? And it's because their life is all about change, and that's coming to be so for our lives too. And every time they get a new idea about how their world works, they don't cling to the old idea at all. They instantaneously let that go, and they're off and running to the new idea, the new understanding that they have. So we know, based on their example, that that's possible. So just be mindful of your language about change. It's important for us to be comfortable with change because the world around us that isn't plugged into these teachings and isn't plugged into these understandings needs our calm, needs our understanding, needs our knowing that even if we don't know how, we know that it's happening. We know that it's working. We know that there is a benevolent spirit that is source of all, that is expressing through all, whether everyone knows it or not. And they are all vehicles of life and love and peace and power, as we are. And if we hold that for them when they do not know it, if we hold it for ourselves, when we do know it, we can move through change, guided by infinite wisdom, guided by peace and power, and know with all certainty that it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. And I thank you this morning for having me speak. I have tons of stuff more I could say, but I got to keep it within a small time frame. So maybe someday I'll write down everything, but not going to happen today. So thank you all very much for being here, and I hope I've given you some tools that you can use to make life a little gentler. Thank you.